I've started the recording, Sophia, so I haven't forgotten. Noting that. Yes, Sophia, since I'm not seeing any attendees. Oh, there's a one there. I was going to ask if the link problem you think might be larger and if it makes sense to send out the correct link if it is a broken link.
Yeah, I have sent the one that to people who reported it to me. Let's see if they're able to get in, and then we will see what else needs to happen. Think Amy, was Amy on the call? Amy Carlson, what was the error that you got? Looks like the only people getting in
Some people are starting to trickle in now, so maybe not sure what the link issue might have been. And James, I see your message. I don't know how to reply to exactly you, but if there are people in the waiting room, it's helpful if you could let them in for me, please.
Yeah, I get more emails saying that the link is not working. I don't know.
Could we send out an email to all registrants with the confirmed link here?
We are going to try to do that. So Marlene, we are sorry, looks like.
If there's a bigger issue, do you just postpone or? Not sure.
Well,
the
just
action is.
see what we can do. Just can't understand what could have happened.
We're starting to see some people come in.
That's great. Sophia, were you able to send the link out to registrants? Or are we still troubleshooting?
Yes, I'm sending the link like crazy
Thank
to
you so much.
I was able to send it to everybody who registered, but I am also, because there was some group registration, so
Oh, yeah,
people would have
right.
to forward it to the groups. So let me just, I have no idea what could have happened.
Looks like 2 meeting IDs somehow got created and sent out, which is odd, but I'm happy to see the numbers increasing. Thank you, Sophia, for troubleshooting this. As always, we're gonna, because of this, why don't we give it to
Well, the story of everybody's life, no matter how hard you work, it just never.
Yep. We'll give it to maybe like 2:09. I'll do the preamble, and Marlene, you can start at 2:10 if that's okay.
Yep, no, sounds good.
Perfect. We were saying how, me and Marlene have tech issues. We're just next door to each other, but it's the Zoom that ended up causing our problem. And it is being recorded, so everyone who registered will get the recording if they do miss the beginning, which is unfortunate, but at least that is there. Okay, I think I'll just get started. We're reaching a good number of people here, and I don't want to delay us any further so that we still have time for questions at the end. So I just want to thank everyone for sticking with us through the technical difficulties in Zoom, and apologies for leaving you without any maybe clear links, but we're happy to have you in the Zoom room with us. So we first want to welcome everyone to the NASIG Continuing Education webinar series, and we're really excited to present this month's webinar on using ChatGPT to transform library data analytics into strategic insights. And my name is Erin, and I'm a member of the NASIG Continuing Education Committee, and I'll be moderating the session today. I'm also joined by other committee members who are here in the chat and can help with any technical issues as they have been doing for these first 10 minutes. And so some housekeeping before we get started with our speaker. We'll have some time for questions at the end of the presentation, but should any come up during the presentation, please use the Q&A feature in Zoom so that we can monitor the questions and ensure that they get answered at the end. And any more casual conversation or comments can go into the chat. I wanted to welcome Marlene Van Belgooy, who will be presenting this webinar to us today. She's the manager of the Metadata Technologies Unit at the University of Toronto Libraries. And so her unit is responsible for managing our library services platform, support for reports and analytics, and automating some library workflows. I'm sure she'll be happy to answer any questions about that as it relates to the presentation. But without further ado, Marlene, right at 2:10, do you want to get us started? I will stop.
All right. Let me just share my screen, and if Erin, you could confirm when it's when you're able to see it, that would be great.
And I see a comment that there's an echo. Is anyone else hearing an echo in the sound? And I'll mute myself now.
I'll just talk so that you can tell me if there's a problem.
No echo, so hopefully maybe it's just a bit of a blip. But Marlene,
Okay.
I see your PowerPoint interface.
Okay, how's it now?
I see just your slides, so that looks great.
Yay! All right, something's
Oh, thank you.
working. All right, well, let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar on how you can transform library data into strategic insights with ChatGPT. Now, before I launch into the presentation, I just want to provide you just with an overview so you can get a quick sense as to what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to begin by just discussing how generative AI and ChatGPT specifically is a real game changer for analytics, enabling more efficient and effective workflows. I'm then going to go into 7 different ways that I think that libraries can use AI in their work. And then after going through those various use cases, I'm going to wrap up by sharing some of the key insights and some lessons that I've learned through my experience in using ChatGPT, and hopefully also highlight best practices and pitfalls. So OpenAI's ChatGPT large language model, it is truly transforming data analytics. This powerful AI model, it does excel in processing, analyzing, and interpreting data by understanding and generating human-like text. Now, it significantly speeds up data analysis processes by automating repetitive tasks, allowing data analysts to concentrate on strategic insights instead of getting bogged down in those labor-intensive methods. Now, one of the most impressive aspects of ChatGPT is how quickly it can handle the data processing. It provides insights that are much quicker than traditional methods. And so that makes it possible to identify trends and patterns in near real time. And as a result, then, ChatGPT can support better decision making and help libraries to optimize their operations services with timely and data-driven insights. Now, one outstanding feature of ChatGPT is its ability to uncover hidden patterns within large data sets. It can analyze vast amounts of text to extract meaningful information, and it can identify correlations that human analysts might miss. The advanced natural language processing makes data analysis more intuitive and accessible. So it offers deeper understanding of complex data sets, and it facilitates a more natural interaction with data. So with all of this amazing functionality, I set out to explore ways in which ChatGPT can help libraries in analyzing data to gain strategic insights. And here are 7 ways in which I use ChatGPT in my work in data analytics. So the first way in which I can see ChatGPT helping libraries is in data preparation. Now, one statistic that you'll find on the web is that approximately 80% of a data analyst's time is spent on data cleaning or data preparation, getting that data set into shape before it's even analyzed or visualized. Now, the amount of time spent on this task, it really highlights the importance of data preparation in ensuring accurate and reliable results. So some of the tasks that a data analyst might be doing in data preparation include things like reformatting dates, removing punctuation, diacritics, capitalization, and white space, standardizing names and addresses, filling in null values with a default value, identifying and cleaning up duplicate values within a data set, and also correcting inconsistent data to ensure uniformity across the data set. Now, ChatGPT can help with all of that, and it can do it faster, and it likely is more accurate than a human data analyst. So working with data, it often involves using regular expressions or regex to normalize strings of text. Now, while regular expressions are very powerful, their complex syntax, it can be very challenging to remember. So I used to rely on Google to find the expressions that I needed, but now that's a task that I can simply ask ChatGPT. So for example, let's say that I have a list of call numbers And I want to remove the cutter from each call number just so that I'm left with only the LC classification. I can use ChatGPT to achieve this. So I start by describing the pattern that I want to modify, and then provide a sample of the data. And then ChatGPT will go ahead and define the regex command, test it on the sample, and even write a little Python script that will help to execute it. So this process, it makes it really easy to make significant changes to your data with minimal effort. So as I alluded to in the previous example, ChatGPT also excels in writing code. Now, I'm not a coder. I've tried to learn Python, but I would say that I am mediocre at best. Now, ChatGPT has completely transformed my experience. I now essentially have a coder at my beck and call, and it works at lightning speed. So to get ChatGPT to code, you simply need to write out your use case in natural language, provide it with a data set to work with, and just like that, you will have some code. Now, Python is the default coding language, but ChatGPT can also work in other programming languages and even translate code between them. And beyond just writing code, ChatGPT can also help to explain code. It can help to debug your code and provide comments within the script. So this makes it an incredibly versatile tool. Because it helps you to, write complex pieces of code, troubleshoot issues, and even just ensure that your code is well documented. Now, another really remarkable use case for ChatGPT is data exploration. Now, exploratory data analysis, or EDA, is a method in data analysis that focuses on examining the main features of a data set. It's all about understanding the underlying structures, spotting any outliers, and testing our assumptions about the data. Now, the main goal of EDA is to use summary statistics and visualizations to get a feel for the data. And this helps us to identify key trends and relationships between the variables, which is crucial for making informed decisions. So ChatGPT can greatly enhance this process by quickly summarizing large data sets and highlight important aspects. And I think this is particularly valuable at the beginning of a project when you're becoming familiar with the data. So in this example here, I have a prompt where I'm feeding in a modified counter report for the Cambridge University Press. I explain what the relevant fields are, and I ask it to provide at least 5 insights related to Library Congress classification, the monthly usage distribution, and the use by platform. And here's the response. So ChatGPT tells us which LC classifications have the highest use. It also provides a summary of usage trends throughout the year, indicating the months with the highest and lowest usage, and including actual values calculated from the spreadsheet. Now, ChatGPT also provides some possible rationale for the usage pattern. So for instance, here it states that, usage in December may be low due to breaks in academic institutions. Now, ChatGPT also analyzes the usage by platform. In this case, we have usage on the Cambridge Core platform, as well as our Scholars Portal Books platform, which is our locally loaded copy of the ebooks based at the University of Toronto. And the statistics indicate that users prefer the vendor site, the Cambridge Core platform. ChatGPT then launches into the most accessed ebook titles and provides a sum of the total usage for that year. And then finally, the AI provides us with a summary of annual usage trends and patterns, platform preference and user interests. And so what is interesting about working with generative AI is that it is a conversation. And if you want to dig deeper into anything or any of the topics discussed, or any other aspect of the data that was not discussed, you simply just have to refine your prompt, and the AI will go back to the data set and generate new insights. Now, in addition to providing you with a textual analysis of the insights gained from the counter report, ChatGPT can also helpfully provide some visualizations that will assist in gaining a quick understanding of what the data is illustrating. So this capability, it leads naturally to the next use case for ChatGPT in library analytics, and that's data visualization. Now, ChatGPT is able to visualize data in many different ways. It can produce visual elements like charts, graphs, maps, etc., to provide a graphical representation of information and data. Now, the primary goal of visualization is to make it easier to identify patterns, trends, and correlations that might not be discovered in text-based data. So by transforming it into, by transforming this raw data into visual formats, we can quickly grasp complex information and uncover insights that might be hidden in the numbers. Now, ChatGPT, it does utilize several Python libraries such as Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, and others to create the data visualizations. And these libraries, they offer a wide range of tools and functions to generate a diverse types of visualizations, ranging from simple line graphs to complex interactive plots. So let's take a look at some of the use cases for visualizing library data. So here we have a line graph. So by providing ChatGPT with a spreadsheet of our yearly circulation totals, it can easily generate a line graph to visualize the trend in print circulation. By uploading a counter report that has been amended with LC class information, this enables ChatGPT to create a radar chart to illustrate usage by LC classification. Now, this radar chart is a very interesting case because it's an example of a very challenging interaction that I had with ChatGPT. Now, in this prompt, I had repeatedly asked it to arrange the LC classes in alphabetical order, starting at the 12 o'clock position in the chart. And with each iteration, it kept back saying, yep, we corrected the issue, and now it's being displayed correctly. But I have to say, I was never able to get it to produce the radar chart exactly in the way that I wanted it to display. So this is a note to all of you that, when you're working with visualizations in ChatGPT, you really need to exercise patience because it can be very frustrating. I also did some experimentation with creating a heat map to show collections usage by stack range and year. So if you look at the heat map, I know it's very hot, very yellow, and that's because our print usage is quite low. But you'll notice that particularly when you look at 2020 and 2021, which are the pandemic years, you'll really see that the colors are lighter because that indicates that there was a drop in usage. And you'll see that particularly at the top when you're looking at the more heavily used ranges. And another fun use case is to use ChatGPT to map statistics onto an interactive map. Now, in this case, I provided ChatGPT with a list of top collaborating institutions with the University of Toronto, including their geographic coordinates and the number of publications that were produced. And I was surprised to learn that it can create an interactive map with capabilities to zoom in and out and to click between the institutions and reveal the number of publications that were co-written by collaborators with other institutions. So these are just some examples of visualizations that I've had ChatGPT produce, but obviously this is only scratching the surface into what you can do with the AI with respect to visualization. I'm now going to move on to the use case of data categorization. And I think that out of all of the use cases I'm presenting today, this is certainly one of my favorites. It's one that really highlights the power of generative AI. Now, in this use case, I wanted to see if ChatGPT could analyze a list of text strings and then assign subject categories based on a provided list, or even create its own list of subjects. Now, the results of this experiment, it quickly demonstrated ChatGPT's ability to handle categorization tasks quite efficiently. It can perform this much faster than a human can, and it doesn't require specific domain knowledge, making it an incredibly valuable tool for streamlining such processes. Now, in my use case, I wanted to gain insights into our users' information needs by analyzing the search strings that they enter into our discovery system. Now, my goal was to get ChatGPT to assign subjects to each of the search strings and categorize them into broad subject disciplines. Now, typically, we would only get a glimpse of our researchers' interests through things like sources like circulation statistics or citation analysis tools. But the aim of this exercise was to see if we could understand information-seeking trends right at the point of search. And if we gain early knowledge of users' interests, can we potentially use this data to inform our purchasing decisions and better meet our users' needs? So I know this is difficult to read, but I'll just describe what we have here. This is my first prompt where I provided ChatGPT. I explained that I had a list of search strings from our discovery system, and I wanted ChatGPT to analyze these strings and provide 3 related subjects for each. And to guide the AI, I included examples of the output that I was looking for. Now, for the second task, I asked ChatGPT to classify each of those search strings into one of 10 broad subject disciplines that I provided in the prompt. And I emphasized that, it should not deviate from the list, use one of those 10. And I also, again, supplied examples of how I would expect these search strings to be categorized. And then finally, at the end, I gave it some specific instructions on how I wanted that list to be formatted. Now, after providing ChatGPT with this information, it asked me for a list of search terms, which I supplied, and then it went to work and started to categorize the terms. Now, it would be really nice if you could just provide AI with a massive list of terms and then walk away while it does its work. However, in working with a web-based tool, it does have its limitations. So initially, I started with, I tested it with 100 terms, which ChatGPT processed without any issues. I then increased the number to 500 search terms, and this took a bit longer, but it did manage to get through the list without timing out. However, when I tried to supply it with 1,000 search terms, this proved to be too much for that single prompt to handle in one go. And after about 665 of those terms, it generated an error and stopped. So this experiment, it really highlighted the importance of sort of testing and understanding the system's limitations when working with large data sets. But here's a sample of the results that ChatGPT produced, and I apologize if it's a bit hard to see, but essentially what we have here are 3 columns. The first column is the search term. The second column has the 3 subjects that were assigned by ChatGPT, and then the third column has the broad subject discipline. Now, the results, I think, are quite impressive. So, for instance, the search term mesothelioma was given the subject medical oncology, asbestos exposure, and cancer treatment, and it was categorized under clinical and life sciences, which looks correct to me. Another example is the search term up to date, which refers to the widely used clinical decision support tool. And ChatGPT correctly assigned the subjects clinical decision support, medical reference, and evidence-based medicine. And it also categorized it under clinical life and life sciences. And even for search terms such as the book title, Skyscrapers Hide the Heavens, ChatGPT was able to determine that the book is related to Indigenous studies, and it categorized it under social sciences. So when categorizing subjects with ChatGPT, it is crucial to use the right tool for the job. Now, since subject categorization, it does involve a certain level of creativity, the standard version of ChatGPT is actually the best. ChatGPT, it also offers like specific GPTs that are fine-tuned for certain tasks. So as an example, I often use the data analyst GPT for those more programmatic tasks, and I usually get excellent results. However, when you're dealing with subject categorization, this model isn't ideal because it leans towards the sort of more rule-based, Python-driven analysis. So you'll see in the boxes that I've highlighted that basically it just sort of gives up and it started to put placeholders in like, oh, general subject, related field, additional subject. And then it just applied the discipline of social sciences to everything in the list. So it just really, when using that GPT, it just couldn't apply the necessary creativity that was needed for this particular task. Another important note is that, when you're doing categorization work in ChatGPT, you need to really keep an eye on it and beware of hallucinations. Now, I once was doing some categorization work, and as it was processing my list, it suddenly decided midway through that it didn't want to continue with my list. No, it wanted to generate its own list of search terms and then start to assign subject headings and disciplines to those. So it was quite humorous because it was very puzzling actually, because you're wondering where did these all come from? But you could see that it just sort of started to run away with itself and began to sort of take over the task and provide false results. So a reminder to you all, check the work of the AI very carefully. All right, so I'm now going to move on to my next use case for ChatGPT, which is predictive analytics. Now, ChatGPT, it does have very strong data analysis capabilities, which makes it great for predictive analytics. And when I'm talking about predictive analytics, what I really mean is to try to predict future events or to forecast future values by analyzing large data sets and using advanced algorithms to identify patterns and trends. Now, for those that are new to predictive analytics, getting started can feel really overwhelming. And this is where ChatGPT really shines. It can guide you in selecting the right predictive models based on your data and your objectives. It can also help you to interpret results, explaining some really complex statistical outputs in a way that is easy to understand. And when it comes to the practical implementation, ChatGPT is incredibly versatile. It can assist in writing code and debugging the code, which is really crucial for predictive analytics projects. So I'm just going to go through a little use case that I worked on. I guess it was just over a year ago. I wanted to see if ChatGPT could predict how specific call number ranges within the Library of Congress classification would perform in the near future. And the idea was that if we could accurately predict which subject areas will continue to see high circulation, libraries could make strategic decisions about which materials to continue to purchase and print. Now, for this investigation, I used a data set with 20 years of circulation data for each of the Library of Congress classification numbers. And that data set, so it spanned from 2003 to 2022. And the ultimate goal of this project was to use this historical data to predict circulation trends for each LC class for the years 2023 to 2025. Now, in this project, ChatGPT was utilized as a guide to help me assemble a predictive model. So, not having a strong background in predictive analytics, I really began this project by discussing the data set with ChatGPT and exploring some potential models that could effectively analyze the data. I then proceeded to test a variety of models and compare the results to the actual data to evaluate the accuracy and reliability of those models. And then through this testing process, I ultimately decided to use the Holt-Winter exponential smoothing model, as well as the ARIMA autoregressive integrated moving average model. And I used those in combination to form an ensemble model. So by combining the two models, this allowed me to sort of leverage the strengths of both to enhance the predictive capabilities. Now, to build the model, I got ChatGPT to create a training set using the circulation data from 2003 to 2021. And then I used that set to predict the value for 2022. And this step was really crucial in validating the model's performance and ensuring that the predictions that it was producing were accurate. Now, once I did that comparison between the predicted numbers for 2022 and the actual numbers, I then got it to generate the forecasts for 2023 to 2025. So to ensure that the model would be applied consistently across all Library of Congress classifications, I asked ChatGPT to develop a standalone Python script. So I basically got it to work out the knowledge of what it had to do within ChatGPT, and then I got it to write a program that would be able to allow me to run this in another, like an external Python environment, and that it would run consistently. It would treat it. It wouldn't change halfway through. So it ran consistently. And what the script does is basically it generated a detailed spreadsheet of the results for each call number. Basically, each call number had predictions forecast. And then it also produced a line graph, which was a visual representation for each call number over time. So this script, it really enabled me to standardize the process, and it made it straightforward to apply the model uniformly across all classifications. And I ran this script that it produced in Jupyter Notebooks. And that was my Python environment of choice. So I'll just show you what we ended up with. So here's an example of the usage predictions for the Library of Congress classification PN 6727. And this pertains to individual authors of comic books, graphic novels, and similar works. Now in this line chart, the blue line that you see going across, that represents the historical circulation data, which showcases the past trend, the actual past trend. And you'll see that from 2023 to 2025, the green line, it illustrates the predictions that were generated with the Holt-Winters exponential smoothing model. The yellow line is the predictions for the ARIMA model. And then the red line sort of falls right in between the two. And that is the ensemble model that we created by averaging those two in a separate model. So although there's still a substantial amount of data and exploration to do in this area of predictive analytics, and that I still need to determine how will this data actually impact our purchasing decisions. I think it's really promising to see how AI can really assist in developing predictive models. And I really do think that this capability does move us forward, and it enables us to create analytics that focus on the future rather than just reflect on the past. Because I think a trend in libraries has always been to look backwards, and I think if we're really going to use analytics wisely to inform our decisions, we have to start building capacity to be able to predict future events. So I think this is it was a worthwhile exploration just to get a sense of, how we can maybe add predictions into our strategies. All right, and now I'm just going to move on to the last use case, which is textual analysis. And this is an area where ChatGPT really shines. So ChatGPT, it can read, summarize, and find common themes in text-based documents, making it incredibly useful for quickly understanding the main ideas in large volumes of text without having to have the user read through all of the content. Now, textual analysis, it does provide some deep insights into the content and context of the text, and it can help us to uncover underlying patterns, sentiments in the text, as well as trends. And all of this helps us to better understand the material and to make more informed decisions. Now, one practical use case for textual analysis is to identify common themes in departmental work plans. So at the University of Toronto Libraries, each year, the central libraries and the library department, individual library departments, we create work plans to outline our projects and goals for the upcoming year. Now, these plans, they are crucial for setting goals, allocating our resources, and also just to ensure that everybody is aligned, with the objectives of the library. So, however, having to review these work plans manually to find sort of alignments between the units, it is a very time-consuming process for our administrators. So I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. And I considered using ChatGPT to analyze each of the departmental's goals and then try to find common themes among the units. So by using ChatGPT to automate this analysis, this saves us a lot of time, and it also gives us a comprehensive view on how different departments are aligning their efforts. And another thought was that, not only can we understand what the goals are and how they align with other departments, we can maybe even find some possible opportunities for collaboration between the units. So I set out to do this. In my first attempt, I asked ChatGPT to independently just identify some themes in the documents. And while this approach, it did sort of yield some interesting results, it did sort of fall short in capturing all of the themes that we were interested in exploring. So to address this, I adjusted my approach by querying ChatGPT on specific themes of interest. And each theme, it was treated as basically it was a separate prompt or separate query to get a really targeted analysis of each specific theme. Now, additionally, in this process, I realized too that it was important to include in that prompt to include synonyms to obtain the best results. So, for example, when I'm asking or prompting ChatGPT to look for themes in the goals related to AI, I found it helpful to add synonyms such as AI, artificial intelligence, generative AI, ChatGPT, Copilot, just add any terms that might be named within these work plans. So that really helped to enhance the accuracy and the comprehensiveness of the analysis of the documents. So ChatGPT, it did an excellent job of identifying which libraries were using AI tools and how they plan to use them in their work. And as you can see from the results, ChatGPT, it does provide valuable little summaries to clearly outline the work that was listed in the work plans. So for example, for my unit, the Metadata Technologies unit, it stated, this unit is exploring how generative AI tools like ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot can simplify and advance data-driven decision-making processes. They also are investigating the application of generative AI to workflows related to overlap analysis for shared print initiatives. And I would say that that's a pretty good summary of the work that we are doing in AI. Now, in addition to the theme of AI, we also wanted to explore other themes. So we did query, get ChatGPT to query on themes such as equity, diversity, and inclusion, cross-institutional collaborations, student experience and student wellness, use of data in decision-making. We queried on the use of knowledge synthesis or systematic reviews. And we also looked at metadata enhancements or cataloging initiatives. And there were a few others that we looked at, but that sort of gives you a flavor of what we were looking at when we were looking through these work plans. And by analyzing each of those themes, we did gain some valuable insights into the priorities and the strategies of different libraries and departments. Now, by gaining a broader understanding of those upcoming projects in various areas, we also thought, okay, let's try to identify opportunities for collaboration between libraries. So what I did there is I uploaded all of those initial results back into ChatGPT, and then I asked it to identify potential collaborations. And the AI, I have to say, it made some really interesting connections between the units. So, for example, one identified collaboration was data analysis and machine learning, where ChatGPT made the following connection. The map and data library is focused on supporting research involving data mining and machine learning techniques, while the metadata technologies unit is exploring the application of generative AI to data analysis. These units can collaborate on workshops, knowledge sharing sessions, or joint projects that harness their collaborative expertise in data analytics and AI, benefiting the entire university's research community. Now, I think that sounds like a perfectly reasonable collaboration to me. We don't, my unit and the map library, we haven't had any collaborations as of yet. But I do think that by getting the AI to, to sort of try to bring different units together, I think that this can maybe make us think differently about our work and who we work with. All right, so that brings me to the end of the use cases for ChatGPT in library data analysis. I now want to just shift gears, and I want to just quickly talk about some things that I've learned. So first, I'll just say, and I realize that I'm running short on time, so I'll try and do this very quickly. First, I'll just say that if you can use the paid version of ChatGPT, it might be beneficial. The OpenAI, they have made some really strong effort to be able to bring more of the functionality to the free plan. However, there are still some differences between the two. So with the paid subscription, you do get priority access to any of the updates. So you'll get access to the newest models first. You'll generally get a faster response time. You will have increased usage limits. In the free version, you might get, between 4 and 10 messages, and then you get downgraded to a sort of a lower version of the LLM. You, with the paid version, you do get a larger context window, which means that, you can sort of do more complex queries without, without the AI losing information. And additionally, you will be able to upload and download spreadsheets, which is and other files, which is very useful when you're doing data analytics work. And then finally, the ability to create custom GPTs is super valuable. Something I use all the time, and it is only available in the paid plan. Another thing I think that's important to understand is that ChatGPT is generative; it's not deterministic. So ChatGPT really doesn't understand language the way that humans do. It doesn't understand the words or concepts that it processes. It is just looking. The way it works is that it's predicting text based on the context and patterns that it's learned from a huge amount of training data. So it doesn't actually understand, the words. It just uses statistical techniques to predict the most likely sequence of words. Another thing that I've learned is that when you're using ChatGPT, prompting it is a conversation. You're going to obtain better results if you use several smaller prompts rather than one big, large, complex one. So if you can break your queries down this will help to ensure that the model responds more accurately. So for best results, you should communicate with it like you would communicate with a human. Use natural conversational language, be as descriptive as possible. And also, if you can, give it examples of what you think is a good output and also maybe what is not a good output. And that will help to guide the AI in the right direction. Understanding the context window. This is something that's really important when you're working with ChatGPT. So the context window, it functions like a form of working memory, and it determines, how much information the model can hold and process at any given time. So ChatGPT has a context window of approximately 32,000 tokens, which translates to approximately 26,000 words. And after that, when the number of tokens it exceeds that window size, ChatGPT begins to forget the oldest information. And this is what leads to those, hallucinations and poor results, because basically, as you add more text and the conversation continues, it's losing that older contextual information. So ways to manage the context window. This is crucial for maintaining the quality of ChatGPT's responses. You can use a token counter to kind of keep track of, how many tokens have been used. But what I think is a really useful strategy is to periodically ask ChatGPT to provide a detailed summary of the conversation. And by doing this, you'll then be reintroducing that summarized information back into the context window. And then this will help to keep that the conversation, to keep the context, and to prevent all of that older contextual information from being dropped off. Another tip that I want to share is just to make use of the custom GPTs, because they'll add a lot of efficiency to your work. Now, a custom GPT, it basically is a tailored version of the ChatGPT model, designed to meet specific needs or execute specific workflows, or even work with specific data sets. So what makes it so effective is that you're able to embed all of these instructions directly within the model. And this will help improve consistency across your outputs. And it also enhances efficiency. And it also makes it easier to scale a project. So I see these custom GPTs as really effective if you're doing sort of repetitive tasks, because you don't have to continue with every prompt to reintroduce the instructions. Quickly, just want to mention that if you could save code for reusability, that's a very effective way. I like to, if there's something that's repetitive, I like to get ChatGPT to create a script, and then I'll ask it to download the script so that I can use it offline in another environment. The one tip I will say is to ask it for a standalone script, because otherwise, if you don't, you might get just a snippet of the code and not the entire program that you'll need to run it. Quickly, just working with data sets. One thing that I will just say is that try to work as quickly as possible, because ChatGPT does reset every now and then. But also, if you're working with a complex spreadsheet, it might be useful to simplify it. Boil it down to the essential elements that you need, because if it's too complex, ChatGPT will have a hard time to process it if there's just too many details, or if the layout is just too complex. In working with visualizations, I'll just I'll forewarn you that it can be a bit of trial and error in working with ChatGPT. Sometimes the fine details, such as labeling, just can't really get it right. But I think it is important to note that the results that ChatGPT produces, it's not really production quality, but it does provide you just sort of like a quick way to generate some visualization that you can maybe then take to another programs such as Power BI or Tableau. So just to wrap up, I just want to say that, ChatGPT, it really is, it's more than just a tool. It is a catalyst for transforming library data analytics. I do think that this technology does have the potential to revolutionize how we operate and how we make decisions. And with the ability to gain rapid insights, it can really help us to optimize our operations and enhance the user experience. So I think with that, I'll quit. I realize that we don't have many minutes left, so hopefully I can get at least answer any questions that you have. And if not, I will be happy to answer them via email if that helps.
Great. We do have a few questions that we can just dive right into. So the first one that was asked, I think you have answered regarding making use of free ChatGPT or paid version, if paid, which version, and if there's anything they should be mindful of when considering making use of ChatGPT for library purposes. Anything to add?
Yeah, I'll just add that at the University of Toronto Libraries, we do have a subscription to the team plan. And with this team plan, it is set up that it doesn't use our data for training. So if that's something that is important for your library, you might want to consider a team plan or investigating a plan that does not use the data for training if that's of concern.
Super. For data cleaning, do you upload the CSV to ChatGPT and ChatGPT provides you the cleaned up CSV for you to download? Or do you mean it provides the functions or code that you may use in OpenRefine or other tools to do the data remediation yourself?
It can do both. So if I upload a spreadsheet and ask it to to apply a regex to a particular column, it can then download the file with the corrected data. However, if you're working with really large data sets, hundreds of thousands of call numbers, for example, it might be just more efficient to get it to create a program, a little Python script, which you can then use in a different environment. So I'll say you could do it either way.
So I'm going to combine two questions here because I believe they are related. So the first one is about learning about any benefits of using multiple AI tools together, like Copilot and ChatGPT. And then another question is about considering other models such as Claude for this type of work, and if there's benefits to using ChatGPT over others.
Yeah, I think I have experimented with I've experimented with Claude. I have to say that I don't think, for my purposes, I don't think Claude really works because it has such a restricted, it restricts the amount of messages that you can ask of it, at least in the free version. So I don't consider it to be, it doesn't have enough, you don't have enough ability to kind of have a deep conversation with it without it sort of timing out and asking you to come back later. So my experience with ChatGPT is that on the team plan specifically, I've never reached the message limit where it's stopping me from asking more questions. So for my purpose, I think ChatGPT works just fine, but that's not to say that other models aren't equally as good. You just have to try them out and see what works for you.
And is there any suggested resources for those brand new to using AI in library work?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I would, the one thing I'm going to plug this podcast. It's called Everyday AI. I listen to it every day, and it has really been a great source for me to learn about the different functionality of different AI tools, because basically every day they just talk about different tool or different, they bring on guests that talk about different aspects of artificial intelligence. I also, I can recommend, I don't know if you have access to this, but Coursera courses, LinkedIn Learning courses. There's a lot of sort of different sort of short form learning opportunities, I think, that are available.
Super. And I know we're at 3 and there's just 2 more questions in the chat,
Okay.
but while we have people here, I do want to just flag that we have an evaluation survey for people to complete regarding this, and you'll get an email with this also. And just provide an update that our next webinar will be February 4th, and it's focusing on integrating DEIA and into resource description workflows. And so we encourage you to sign up for that. And Marlene, I guess we can get to the last question while the folks are still here. So someone had asked if you, in a use case previously that you mentioned, did you give ChatGPT a prior list of subjects in this use case?
No. So the categorization example that I gave, I did not give it any instruction as to how to apply subjects to it. I just let it go wild to determine what it thinks are the best subjects. The disciplines, though, I did base them on subject disciplines that are in Web of Science, because I wanted to be able to kind of try to categorize these search strings according to disciplines that are more defined. But no, with the subject categorization, I just let it do what it wanted to do, and it is surprising. Sometimes the terms are a little overly broad, but generally, I think it does a pretty good job at nailing down the general subject area of a particular search string.
Great. And our final question is, can you explain what zero-shot prompts are?
Yeah, so a zero-shot prompt is where you basically just you develop a prompt that just sort of asks the question and sort of leaves it more open-ended. When you're doing like multi-shot prompting, you're basically telling it, you're giving it examples of what's it like, what are you expecting, what is a good output, what is a bad output, and it's more like a conversation where you're really kind of trying to refine what the AI is passing back to you. So think of a zero shot as just tossing a question out there and just taking the answer, versus a conversation that really kind of helps to refine what you're looking for.
Super. Well, that's all the questions that we had, and we did it in a pretty
Yay.
tight 3 minutes over time, which isn't bad. Thank you so much, Marlene, for this really wonderful presentation. I hope everyone learned a lot. I still feel like I learn a lot every time I see iterations of this presentation. And for attendees, you'll have a recording of this webinar sent to you through email. So even if you join late because of the link mishap, you'll still be able to catch up. We did start about 10 minutes after the hour. And thank you everyone for your patience as we troubleshot that, and thanks for joining us.
And thank you, Erin, for hosting.
All right,
All right,
everyone, take care.
great. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.